Look, my name's Ananya, and people think I have the best job in the world. You could pay to eat, Ananya? What a life! They say it at parties, in emails, even my own mother. They don't get it. Not really. For me, it's never been about just good food. My job, my whole life, is about finding the truth. Is this real? And the person who can tell you if the line-caught sea bass on your $200 plate was actually frozen and farmed in a tank in Vietnam. I can tell you if the Himalayan pink salt is just dyed table salt from a warehouse in New Jersey. I'm a food critic for the global standard, which sounds way more glamorous than it is. Mostly it's just me, sitting alone, chewing very, very slowly, and trying to find the lie. I can taste the difference between butter from grass-fed Normandy cows and grain-fed Irish cows. I can tell you the specific valley a Pinot Noir grape was grown in just from the finish. My palate is my identity. It's the only thing I've ever had that is 100% reliable. This obsession, it's a whole thing. You're probably thinking I'm nuts. I get it. It's a lot. You have to understand, I wasn't always this intense. I used to just enjoy food. But then, about 8 years ago, there was the incident. That's what I call it in my head. I reviewed this restaurant in Chicago, Livray, The Truth. God, the irony. I gave it a perfect review, a perfect score. I wrote about the ethereal whisper of saffron and the deep woodland floor notes of the truffle. I called the chef a genius. I mean, my review made him. It put him on the global map. A year later, an insider blew the whistle. It was all fake. All of it. The saffron was a synthetic compound, a chemical dye. The truffle was a few drops of 2,4-diphthiapentane, a petroleum byproduct, mixed into cheap grapeseed oil. The chef was a chemist, not a chef. A brilliant, total fraud. He didn't just fool the public. He fooled me, my palate. The one thing I have, the one thing I've built my entire life on. He made me a liar. I told millions of people to go eat a lie, and I called it perfection. That messed me up. Bad. For a long time. But after the shame wore off, it just left this cold, hard obsession. Never again. I will never be fooled again. I have to know the source. Which brings me to my current assignment. The big one. The global standard is sending me to review Sanguine, the most exclusive, most mysterious restaurant on the planet. You can't book a table. You are invited. It's run by this reclusive genius, Chef Camilla, who nobody has really seen. An assignment like this, it's the ultimate test. My chance to find the real truth. To prove to myself that my palate is still pure. Looking back, I really, really wish I'd refused the assignment. I wish I'd just stayed home. Because I went to Sanguine. I did find the source. And the truth is, some flavors, you're much, much better off not knowing where they come from.
I walk into Sanguine and it's not what you'd expect. No gold, no luxury. It was quiet, minimalist. Polished concrete floors, dark mahogany walls, single flickering candles on tables spaced way too far apart. It felt more like a chapel than a restaurant. It was hushed, The air was cool and smelled faintly of something I couldn't place. Something sweet and metallic. And then Chef Camila came out, not to the room, just to my table. She was exactly what you'd picture, but more so. Mid-40s, pristine white uniform with no wrinkles, hair pulled back in a bun so tight it looked like it hurt. She was intense but charismatic. She smiled, but her eyes were cold, analytical, like she was deconstructing me. "Welcome, Miss Rao," she said, her voice quiet and hypnotic. "We are so honored. We are here to serve the truth of the ingredient. Nothing else." The food. God, the food. It was transcendent. Every flavor was a high C. Clear, perfect, pure. A carrot dish that tasted more like a carrot than any carrot I'd ever eaten. A fish that tasted like the deep, cold ocean itself. I've never tasted anything like it. My review practically wrote itself. I remember typing a religious experience. But there was one thing. One tiny, nagging thing that stopped it from being perfect, and instead made it haunting. Her signature dish. A simple piece of seared something. She called it the essence. And it came with this dark ruby red sauce. It was incredible. It was sweet, savory, coppery. It had a finish that just buzzed. It lit up my whole palate, made me feel a little euphoric even, warm. And I had no idea what it was. Me, Ananya Rao, the palate, couldn't identify an ingredient. My review was a sensation. The restaurant was rocketed into the stratosphere, and I was a hero. But privately, I was a wreck. It drove me nuts. For weeks after, I couldn't sleep. I'd go to other chefs, friends of mine, the best in the world. I'd describe it. It's sweet, but not like sugar. It's coppery, like a faint metallic but velvet finish. And it's warm. It makes you feel warm. They all looked at me like I was crazy. Sounds like a high-end demi-glace, Ananya, maybe with some exotic fruit. It's not a demi-glace. I'd snap at them. It wasn't. It was something new. I tried to replicate it myself. For 2 solid weeks, my apartment kitchen looked like a disaster zone. I tried every spice, every reduction, every animal, aged venison, duck, rare mushrooms. Nothing came close. This is the bad part. One night, I was working late. I'd been reducing a venison stock for about 12 hours. I was exhausted, frustrated, and just angry. I was chopping herbs, not paying attention, and my best knife slipped. I nicked my thumb deep. It bled a lot. I cursed, rushed to the sink, but not before a lot of drops dripped right into the simmering stock. I was about to throw the whole pot out. It was contaminated, ruined, but I stopped. I don't know why. I was just so tired. I walked back to the stove. The blood had cooked into the sauce. It was darker now. I leaned in just to smell it, and my head swam. That smell! It wasn't right. It smelled good. I dipped a spoon in. My hand was shaking. I told myself, "Don't be an idiot, Ananya. This is insane." But I had to know. I tasted it, and oh God, it wasn't the same. Not exactly. But for the first time, it was close. That was the scare. Not a monster. Not a ghost. Just me in my own kitchen at 3 a.m. with a bloody thumb stock and a spoon, and I'm thinking, it needs more salt. I threw up for 10 minutes straight. I poured the stock down the drain, and ran the garbage disposal for a full minute. I bleached the pot. I bleached the whole kitchen.
I went into denial. Total. It was a fluke, I told myself, scrubbing my hands raw. I was tired. I was projecting. The iron in my blood just mimicked the flavor profile. I was rationalizing, just like I did with Livray all those years ago. I was lying to myself again, because the alternative was unthinkable. It couldn't be. People don't do that. Not in a world-famous, celebrated restaurant. But my palate, my damned traitorous palate, it wouldn't let me rest. It kept whispering. It was close. It was so close. But I had to know. I couldn't just accuse the world's greatest chef of that. Not based on a kitchen accident and a sick feeling. I had to be sure. My sanity depended on it. My identity depended on it. I had to know if I was a critic or if I was an accomplice. I started investigating her suppliers. I pulled every string I had. I called in favors from importers I'd known for a decade. I tried to trace her supply chain. Where was she getting her game, her heirloom produce? It was all a dead end. Her main supplier, the one for her most exclusive ingredients, was a company called Sanguine Logistics. Totally blank. No website, no address, just a P.O. box in a state I'd never heard of. The food just appeared. The invoices were vague, just listing specialty meats and proprietary essence. I was going crazy. I wasn't sleeping. My review was being quoted everywhere, and all I could taste was that taste. I'd be eating a salad, and the metallic tang of the vinaigrette would make me gag. I was jumpy, paranoid. I felt like Livray was happening all over again, but this time, the lie wasn't a chemical. The lie was something so much worse. So I did the only thing I could. I called Chef Camilla's private number, the one she'd given me, in case you ever need to discuss the truth. Chef? I said, my voice trying to be steady. Ananya Rao. I'm doing a follow-up piece for The Standard on your philosophy, on the source. There was this long, cold silence on the line. Not a let me check my schedule silence, a knowing silence. I could just hear her breathing, slow and even. Then her voice, smooth as velvet. Ananya, of course. I've been expecting you. Your palate is everything they say it is. You felt it, didn't you? The truth. My blood ran cold. Why don't you come back? A private demonstration just for you. You can see the source of everything. That was it. The point of no return. An invitation. Or a trap. I knew in my gut this was a bad idea. Every rational part of my brain screamed to go to the police, go to your editor. But my obsession, that old wound, I couldn't say no. I had to see the truth. I had to know once and for all what I had told the world to eat. So I said, I'll be there tonight. I'm writing this in my car, parked about a block away from Sanguine. It's late after midnight. The street is empty. The restaurant is dark except for a single light way in the back, probably the kitchen. She's waiting for me. I'm going in.
If I don't come back, I'm sorry, but I have to know.
I got out of the car. The street was so quiet, my footsteps echoed, sharp and loud in the night air. I pushed open the heavy mahogany door. It wasn't locked. The dining room was dark. Candles out, chairs all neatly stacked. The silence was thick, heavy. The only light came from the stainless steel double doors to the kitchen, a single bright line, and the smell. It was that sauce, that coppery, sweet, intoxicating smell. It was wafting through the whole restaurant, much stronger than before. It made my mouth water, which made me want to be sick. "Chef," I called out. My voice sounded small and thin. The double doors swung open with a hiss. Camila was standing there. Her pristine white uniform was spotless. She was holding a single glass of deep red wine. She smiled, but it was just her mouth. Her eyes were those same cold, analytical eyes. "Ananya, you're right on time," she said, her voice a hypnotic purr. "Come, you wanted to see the demonstration." I followed her into the kitchen. It was immaculate. I mean, you could perform surgery in there. Every surface was polished steel, reflecting the harsh white overhead lights. It smelled of bleach and that other thing, that sauce, simmering in a massive copper pot on the stove. "You're a purist, Ananya," she said, walking slowly toward the back. "Like me, you understand that all great flavor comes from the source, the life." She stopped at a heavy stainless steel door in the back wall. It looked like a walk-in freezer. "You wrote that my food was transcendent," she said, her hand on the latch. "You were right, but you couldn't figure out why. It's been killing you, hasn't it?" I just stared. I couldn't speak. "The incident, le vrai," she said. My blood went cold. How did you know about that?" "I know everything about you, Ananya. I know you're terrified of being fooled. You came here, to me, looking for the truth." She smiled. "He fooled you with chemicals, a cheap, tawdry lie. My truth is organic. It's the oldest truth there is." She pulled the heavy latch. The door hissed open, releasing a cloud of frigid air that smelled of iron. "This," she said, "is a demonstration." I walked in. It was a larder, a huge refrigerated room. The walls were lined with steel shelves, but there was no food. There were bags, dozens of them, clear plastic bags like IV drips, but larger, all filled with a dark ruby red liquid. Each one was labeled with a clean type sticker from Sanguine Logistics. My stomach just dropped. The cold metallic hum of the refrigeration unit was the only sound. What is this?" I whispered. That I knew. Oh God, I knew. My palate knew. My body knew. "It's the ultimate ingredient," Camila said, filled with passion. "The life force you tasted. It's what makes the sauce fuzz. It's what you felt. You can't replicate it. You can't fake it. It is everything." I looked at a bag. The liquid was thick, viscous. "Blood," I whispered. My legs were shaking. "Human blood." "Of course," she said, like she was explaining what flour was. "Nothing else has this complexity. This is the source, Ananya." And that's when it all hit me. The two, the incident and this, they just slammed together in my head. The ray, the fraud, the chemicals, my humiliation, and Sanguine, the truth, the religious experience. I ate this?" I said, pointing a shaking finger at the bag. "You raved about it," she corrected me, her voice cold. "I told them to eat this." My voice was a raw croak. "I told millions of people."
My fear, it wasn't about monsters. It was about this exact moment. The horrifying realization that my greatest gift, my palate, it wasn't just old, it was a liar. It had been an enthusiastic, unwitting accomplice. I was a participant in this grotesque taboo. I wasn't just the victim of a fraud. I was the high priestess. I turned to run. I had to get out. I had to tell someone. I shoved past her, back into the kitchen. I slipped on the polished concrete floor, caught myself on a steel table. "You can't leave me, Ananya," she said. She was right behind me. I scrambled. I grabbed a heavy copper pot and just threw it. It clanged against the wall. She didn't even yell. She just lunged. She was a chef. She was strong. I was a writer. I tried to get to the door, but she grabbed my arm. Her grip was like steel. "My secret is safe, Ananya." She hissed, her face close to mine. "My source is safe." I saw her other hand come up. She was holding a heavy steel saute pan, not a knife, a tool for subduing. The first hit was to my temple, a bright, white, hot pain. I fell. My head hit the steel table leg. The last thing I smelled was the bleach and that sweet, coppery sauce. The last thing I saw was her pristine white uniform, not a single drop on it. Then, black.
A week later, Sanguine is fully booked. There's a hushed reverence in the dining room. A new critic, the one who took over the Global Standards top spot after Ananya Rao's tragic, sudden disappearance, is at the best table. He's a younger man, more impressed by the theater of it all, less obsessed with the why and more with the wow. The restaurant is buzzing with the news of Ananya's vanishing act. Some say a breakdown, some say she just left. The mystique has only grown. Chef Camilla herself brings out the signature dish. The critic is honored. She leans in, her voice a conspiratorial whisper. "A new refinement for our most honored guests," she says. "A vintage I've been cellaring. It's very special. I call it the critic's cut." The critic smiles, flattered. He takes a bite. His eyes close. He's silent for a full minute. The sauce is beyond words. It has a complexity he's never known, a sharp, intelligent finish that almost seems to speak to him. It's like nothing he has ever tasted. He picks up his pen. "Perfection," he murmurs, writing it down. "Pure, unadulterated truth." He notes the flavor, a subtle, complex, almost poetic new note he can't quite identify. Something familiar, though he can't place it. He writes, "Chef Camilla has done the impossible. She has improved upon perfection." He titles his review, "The Truest Meal."
Thank you so much for watching or listening. Like and subscribe for more nightmares. Your support keeps the darkness from consuming this channel, so we can face the next terrifying story together. Don't be left in the dark.